1, 2, 3.
3,
Clap.
4,
5, 6,
6,
7,
7,
8,
8,
9,
9,
10.
You guys are on my
10.
offbeats.
I can't help thinking, somewhere in the universe, there has to be something better than man. Has to be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ascension to 10.
All right, here we go, guys. Episode 1.
Welcome,
ready?
everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the first episode of the Ascension to 10 podcast. We're going to talk about what that name is in a second, what it means, who we are. I'm one of the hosts, Jordan. I'm
Jad.
joined by Spencer and Bryan. What's poppin', fellas?
This podcast,
Click clack.
she popping.
All right, Spenny, why don't you explain what this is all about, what the Ascension to 10 name means, where it came from, what are we going to do here?
Yeah, so Ascension to 10. So this has a history. So the three of us have been friends for a very long time, so childhood friends. But this started back in 2014. There was a limited sci-fi channel series called Ascension. I was very excited about it and kept hyping it up to Jad, Bryan, and some of our close friends. Show came out and no one watched it. I think a few people had it on DVR, but I watched it. And yeah, I watched the whole thing, and every episode just got worse and worse. And it was one of those things where it was supposed to be a 3-night special. And after the first night, they had decided to make it just a 2-night special. So 3 episodes, 2 nights. Get your popcorn ready. So I proceeded to tell everybody, oh, yeah, this is going to be so great. This is awesome. And then it just got worse and worse. And I kept telling people how awful it was. And by the end of it, no one else watched it. Anybody that had it on DVR, they just deleted it. So
You did all the heavy
After
lifting.
after that debacle, I developed a rating system called Ascension to 10, which is basically Ascension is the worst movie you've ever seen, and 10 being the greatest, of course. So kind of our goal with this podcast is to entertain, kind of give people an opportunity to take a journey with us, kind of looking at some movies that maybe have been lost that you haven't seen, but also save you from some of the movies you should not see. I think that's the big thing.
One thing we should make clear at the start is that we are by no means movie critics or authorities when it comes to doing things with cinema.
Well, that's for sure.
And giving our opinions on cinema. And so
I think
take that with a grain of salt.
I would say in a little bit, we're going to kind of break down kind of our top 5. And I think that'll be very telling kind of people we are when it comes to rating stuff.
And we don't know what each other's lists are either. So this will be interesting for us.
No.
This has not been discussed before.
Yeah.
So how do we want to do this? We want to each start with our number 5s and go round robin here? Or do...
Well, yeah, I mean, so already hit a snag because I did a top 5 shows and a top 5 movies. So apparently I'm going to do 2 of each.
I think that's fair. You put in the time. The work has been done. Like I want to see your work. I want to know what you love and care about.
It's going to be top 5 movies / shows.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
Okay.
Cool.
I only prepared 5 things.
Okay, well, I'll go first. So,
Okay.
5 show, Boy Meets World.
Oh, okay.
All right.
5 movie,
I didn't really ever watch that one. Like I know what it is, but definitely didn't watch it.
Dune 2021. 5.
Okay. All right, Bryan gets shut down there.
I did. Yeah, you guys all froze on the the laptop, so I was just talking, but
Interjection denied.
yeah, that's
Sorry.
fine.
All right, Spenny.
So good.
Number 4 show.
Oh, you want to do 4 now?
Yep.
Office.
Okay.
Movie. Top Gun.
Oh, I was waiting for that one actually.
Oh, yeah.
That was the one thing I knew was going to be on your
Oh,
list.
yeah. I watched that 6 times in a row one summer when I was in grade school. Just kept rewinding that VCR. Number 3 show, Boardwalk Empire. Was one of my favorite shows. And
I never watched that one.
Was that Showtime?
HBO.
Is that HBO?
Yep.
Okay.
Number 3 movie, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Ooh, that is a
I-
good movie.
Absolutely love that movie.
I have, as my list will make clear, a reason to watch that now because that was Ben Stiller, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
I'm intrigued.
Why? Wait. Hold on. Why are you intrigued, and specifically why about Ben Stiller? Do you have like a recent love that has blossomed
A
for
recent,
him, or
a recent interest. Yep.
Yep.
I'll
Really?
explain. Yep. A recent
oh man,
interest.
I have opinions,
Oh, okay. Let's.
Okay.
Well, you'll have to wait.
but later.
Yeah, that's later.
Yeah,
Okay, number 2 show, Schitt's Creek.
it's a good one.
Solid
Love
entry.
that show. Excuse me.
Working through it.
Okay, number 2 movie, Good Will Hunting.
Okay. Interesting.
That is a very good movie.
And then we're at the top ones. Okay, number 1 show, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
I knew that was coming.
And yeah, I mean, without saying, that was my life growing up.
Yep.
And number 1 movie, Shawshank Redemption.
It's a great movie.
Who's next?
Not a lot of sci-fi movies on that list, considering this is a sci-fi related show. But
As we'll learn soon, it is going to be a show not to, specific to sci-fi.
is this because of episode 3?
Yeah.
Well,
Which has already been recorded,
it's
Yeah.
already.
but
this
we're
is-
recording
okay,
episode
yeah.
1 right
Yeah.
now.
We'll
Yeah.
get to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Brian.
Okay.
What's your list?
So I did not put mine in any particular order. I was very lazy about this. In fact, I only did movies, and as you were
That's fair.
talking, I was thinking
Yeah.
about shows. So I have
Spinny
3.
gave terrible assignment instructions for this. The homework that Brian and I are handing in is incomplete.
At best.
Yeah.
And even still, something about me just in general, I have the hardest time. I think it's actually something that I fear having to like rank things or order them or like give your top 3 or top 10 or 5. Anytime I have to like whittle down what I've seen or what I know or what I love down to like my favorite dish, my favorite whatever, it's a nightmare for me. So I didn't put these in any particular order, and I'm probably leaving out things I like, but in no particular order, movie number 1, starting early childhood, was Wizard of Oz. And I watched that on repeat, like just as a kid in front of the
Interesting.
TV every day after preschool or wherever I was at. I just come home and watch it. Yeah. So
Fascinating.
it's like one of those childhood memories where I like have such
Yeah.
vivid memories of just sitting there watching that.
Would you do that alone or with your siblings?
I think I was alone.
Just chilling alone with the wizard.
Watching Dorothy.
Yeah. Over and over again.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's what nightmares are made of.
I feel like I know a lot about you, and that's surprising.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't surprise me because this kid
not
had
as a criticism,
It shouldn't
but,
surprise me because
I
he had a
mean-
trundle bed. So
Yeah, you're right. You do know, but I grew up on the trundle bed. Born and raised. And also thought of a couple of TV shows from early childhood that I really enjoyed. Street Sharks.
that came out same time as Gargoyles.
Yes, And after watching it, like I watched it recently. Street Sharks. We're just gonna couple Street Sharks and Beast Wars together because I watched both of those. Obsessed with them. Street Sharks is just a complete ripoff of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to a T.
Sharks.
To a T. They're just sharks with legs. Like they've even got a sidekick who loves cheese
stuff, right?
Yeah. They've got a sidekick who like brings them cheeseburgers the same way that like their sidekick in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles brings them pizza. Like it's the same thing, take for take.
Hey, bro, don't fix it. Might as well use it.
That's epic.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. So those are childhood. Nightmare Before Christmas is like a honorary inclusion in that. Still love that movie. I think it's genius. More so.
That's number 3?
Yeah. That would be probably number 3. I would have to say Snatch is one of my favorite movies, which I don't know if you guys have seen it. Ooh, it is so good. And one thing you're going to learn about me is that I am not good at summarizing movies or giving you any sort of synopsis. I fumble over it and it's just not worth it. It's a really good movie. It's got Brad Pitt in it and he like makes up an accent. Like he's like a fighter. It's a, not Wes Anderson. Oh my gosh. What is his name? Guy Ritchie film. So it's like a bunch of smaller storylines and they like work towards each other. And then eventually you see where all these characters intersect and why all these different stories are being told. It's really genius.
Speaking of Guy Ritchie, there is a movie that I want us to do at some point. That's Guy Ritchie's. I think
what is it?
Stars in it. Time Machine.
I don't think I've seen it. Yeah. Ooh. Gotta. I would say Big Lebowski is on the list for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. I would expect that.
Yeah. This list too, like this is like movies that I can think I don't want to spend a lot of time rewatching things. I want to constantly be seeing new movies or things I haven't seen or shows or whatever. But these are ones that if all else failed, I would definitely sit down and watch these and enjoy them. That's like the first ones that popped in my head.
That's exactly how I did mine too. Yep.
Yeah.
Brian, I'm pretty sure The Big Lebowski had been recommended to me by so many people, but you were the one that I actually ended up watching it with.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great. It was worth it.
It's so good. Oh,
it's a good movie.
I find something new in it almost every time I've seen it, which I think that's what makes it like probably number 1. It's like that and Interstellar are sitting at like the 1 and 2 spot because both of them I'm just like kind of intrigue my brain every time I see them. And I will say, because you said television shows, the 2 other television shows that are at the top of the list for me are The Office and season 1 of True Detective.
Season 1 of True Detective is very good.
Yeah.
Nice.
That'd be the list.
How about, okay, Jad, you're up. Your list of top 5 show movies /
Yes, it is a combination. I did not understand the assignment.
Well, good thing I went first. I set expectations. It's gone downhill ever since.
It has. Really.
Well, prepare for the rest of this series.
So excited.
But I have to echo what Brian was saying because I tend to think of things in terms of what's your favorite whatever, as if it's a top 3 or a top 5, it's probably going to be what's the most recent 5 things I've seen.
Right.
And that's going to be my top whatever.
Yeah.
Generally.
That's why I tried to add the context of like childhood. So things that you watch growing up and all that stuff.
Yeah. So that being said, I'm going to start with number 5, and I will say The Expanse show that started on Sci-Fi that transitioned to Amazon, and it's real good. Spenny had some problems.
I have a real problem.
It's ironic.
With episode.
It's ironic because Spenny was so
season 1 because
he was so hyped about this stupid Expanse show on Sci-Fi that nobody watched and was terrible. And yet when Sci-Fi came out with The Expanse, he didn't want anything to do with it when it turned out to be epic.
Oh, you're saying
really
he was hyped about the Ascension show.
Oh, yeah, whatever I said.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was hyped about Ascension, which no one watched.
I watched season 1 of Expanse. No one else did. Once again.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I watched it. Ascension came out. I watched The Expanse. I watched The Magicians. I watched all the first seasons of all those, and no one else watched them. And I was just, I think I was had a bad taste in my mouth because you guys are jerks, and no one watches shows with me. And now it's like, oh man, The Expanse is like the greatest thing ever. Get real.
You guys could have shared that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
Well, that's
number
good.
4.
Yeah. I almost forgot.
I'm
you
going
were
to say
not done yet.
the I just did one.
Cutting you off. Shoot,
me
The
off.
Expanse.
All right. The number 4 is the new Dune.
Yeah.
Part 1, I guess.
Yep.
Because part 2 hasn't
Yep.
come out yet. I read the whole Dune book series, and that can be a different topic, but the new Dune movie, at least the first part of it, is one of the best adaptations I've ever seen of something.
100%.
So-
yeah.
I think that's always the big thing is like the adaptation of the book versus the movie, and does that alienate people that haven't read the book? And I feel like it did a really
Yep.
good job
Yep.
of kind of incorporating both. So
Yep. Number 3, Golden Girls,
naturally,
without a doubt.
I mean this Golden Girls was literally the show you watched all the time when we were kids.
Been, yeah. At one point, there was this online quiz or something about Golden Girls trivia, and
Was
I
it
was at the top of the
BuzzFeed?
leaderboards. No, this was pre-BuzzFeed. This was, I mean, still on dial-up doing these quizzes.
We're gonna dial up since
And,
like 2015. So
But I was at the top of the leaderboards for these Golden Girls trivia boards, and it's amazing. If you
I
haven't
did
seen it,
not
it's amazing.
know this
and
at all.
Well, I recommend it. What else can I say? The Golden Girls is probably the best comedy ever made
Okay.
on syndicated television. All right, number 2, Star Trek: The Next Generation.
figured that was somewhere coming.
Knew it was coming.
Yep. Which leads me to number 1, and it gets back to this Ben Stiller thing. My number 1 show, movie, whatever. I'm going to say it right now. This is the best thing I've ever seen.
Oh my God. I'm
And there's-
just on the edge
and
of my
there's-
seat right now. I can't.
and
And there's
only
2 episodes.
There's only 2 episodes of it. This premiered last week on Apple TV Plus, and it's called Severance. And it's so good that even if the rest of the series falls off, it will still hold up, because everything from the set design, the dialogue, the lighting, the edit, it's all amazing. And it's produced or created by Ben Stiller. He's
Right.
not in it.
okay.
It stars
Scott.
Adam Scott, and this is not a comedy at all. But I don't know. I don't. Again, there's only 2 episodes, so I don't want to really go into it yet. But
Yeah.
I recommend it to anyone. It's amazing.
Okay.
I would say from a cinematic standpoint, that first episode, some of the first shots in like the first 15 minutes are some of the best shots I've ever seen.
It's
But it took us 2 days to get through the first episode because it was
What?
dragged on so long.
next.
Oh, that's.
So
you hate to hear it.
I'm
You hate
holding
to
my
hear it.
breath. I'll watch it tomorrow when it comes out, the next episode. But
So this might
it's
be my
shot
ascension
exactly like Walter Mitty. So
then. Okay, so then I'm
you're
probably
gonna
going to
like
enjoy
it.
that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got through that, right?
Yep.
And the
Yep.
other thing we need to talk about is we actually did record an episode 1.
And 2.
And 2.
And 3.
And 2 and 3. Well, yeah.
And 0.
but the whole point is
This is our 5th recording. And we're titling it and releasing it as episode 1.
but the reason we're doing that is because episode 1 got messed up, right?
Well, it got messed up, but it's going to be minted into an NFT that will later be sold for insane amounts of ETH.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that in a later episode. We don't even need
Yeah.
to go into that right now. But yeah,
we'll
it's
be
like a
laughing at
relic.
it.
It's a relic.
We'll be laughing at how the crypto fad came and went, and everyone lost a bunch of money.
Well, we'll see.
So here's what happened. We've been talking about this podcast since 2014, like Spenny mentioned. Well, the idea has been brewing. It's like, why don't we just do this Ascension to 10 thing, right? Mm-hmm. Let's start a podcast. And this last November, it's currently February 2022.
It was October.
October. Okay, so even farther back.
Oh, that's
Spenny
helpful.
and I...
The whole month further back.
Yeah, Spenny...
It's in the
Spenny and I-
details, Jordan.
Okay, well, Spenny and I got serious about it, and we said, why don't we just do this? Yeah. And so we cryptically texted Bryan and said, we want to do this. Do you want to be our producer?
What do we need to
Be
buy?
part of the show. What do we need to buy? So Bryan gives us this shopping list, and we spend all this money, and then now it's. And so now it's February. It's been since October since we said we were going to do this, and now it's February. And we don't know what we're doing here, and so we plugged in all this fancy stuff and recorded 90 minutes worth of episode 1 talking about a movie, Tremors 6, which we're going to talk about soon.
Oh, it's so good.
And we thought it was fine. It was really fun to do. We were really excited because it was our first recording. Well, it was the second recording, but we kind of recorded this
First real one.
Little episode 0. And then I was so excited. I listened back to my part.
Ruined it.
Just full of electronic kids. Every time I spoke, Spenny's audio was fine. We have the exact same equipment, and my audio was just the worst. And I was texting Bryan. I said, "Is this salvageable? You tell me you can do something in post with this. Remove that electronic noise." I'm like,
I have done a lot.
No, that's ruined.
I have done
you
an
ruined that.
unbelievable amount of audio damage control, and that was not salvageable.
Cannot take the drill out of the mic.
It was really bad.
So we thought, all right, what do we? But at this time, Bryan was so busy doing his other stuff, and we didn't have any time to help us out here. And so we recorded.
No comment.
We sat down and recorded episode 2. We sat down and recorded episode 3, and then we finally hear that this is completely unsalvageable, which leads us back to this. What we're doing right now. This is the 5th time we're recording. This is a recast of episode 1. We decided that we want this to be as authentic as possible. So we're not going to try and redo what we did the first time.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Maybe later if we have any audience at all that might be possibly interested in hearing that, we might release it at some point.
Maybe we'll
As
just
an
release my
NFT.
audio. We'll just release my audio.
Oh, yeah. Your call ends in 10 minutes?
I got it. Don't worry about it.
Well, better wrap this one up, boys.
That's episode 1, folks.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
So that's where we're at. This is the show. We're going to be talking about movies or shows. I don't know. We don't really have a...
For the most part, it's gonna be a lot of sci-fi because I feel sci-fi has a lot of, shall we say, weird movies. We'll trickle in some
movies.
other ones and
Yeah.
maybe some series, those types of things. I mean, God hoping we can finally have you two watch Ascension, but we'll see.
That is never going to happen. So, but we don't want to leave you guys hanging too much. The first episode was about a movie called Tremors 6, A Cold Day in Hell. And I was fortunate enough to pick the first movie that we watched. And I wanted to do the worst movie I'd ever seen and talk about that. And if we're going to do a rating scale of Ascension to 10, the first movie that we chose was an Ascension in my book. And Spenny gave it a 0.9. So again, we spent 90 minutes talking about this, which we're not going to do today.
The movie itself was 90 minutes, so we basically just went
we basically did a scene for scene. But it is funny enough to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, I need to. I've never seen it and fully intend to never watch it. So I just want to know. I need to know a bit about it. Just
okay. Let me paint the picture though for the Tremors series, the Tremors extended universe, if you will.
Yes, of course.
So have you seen Tremors, the first one?
I maybe have seen it in passing on was it on TBS or something, some channel.
Oh, that's what we talked about. Yeah. The fact that when this came out, I loved the original. Maybe that should have been on my list. The original Tremors, because it was something that I just saw on TV when it would air.
Yeah.
And that was back when we were kids.
Oh, it's a great show.
Yeah. But that was when you didn't know what was coming. Or what was going to be on TV. It was just whatever was on at that time.
Yeah.
And so I always enjoyed when Tremors would come on. And so Tremors starts with this little sleepy town called Perfection, Nevada. And it's a population of, I don't know, 10, a dozen maybe. And they don't really do much there. But the main characters are these two guys that are trying to find their way through the world. But some trouble starts happening. People start dying mysteriously or just disappearing. It turns out there's these prehistoric underground monster worms that tunnel through the earth, hunt by sound. So anytime they hear sound that's traveling through the ground, they can come after them and suck them into the earth and into their bellies. And they have these little 3-tongue tentacle things that each have their own mouths. And turns out that these little, so they're called graboids because they can grab people and bring them in. You ready for more, Brian? You ready for more?
Yeah.
That's
basically better.
That's the first movie, right? And it's actually good because it has Kevin Bacon in it and Fred Ward.
The Baconator.
Is that what his name is?
Michael
and
is it
Michael Gross? That's the
and
Michael Gross.
Well, Reba McEntire.
Oh, Reba McEntire,
and the young girl from Jurassic Park's in it.
Right. So this is star-studded, high budget, and the
grandpa from Three Ninjas is in it too.
Oh yeah, he owns the store.
General.
We like him.
And this was a time when everything was practical effects. So they had little puppets or whatever that would come out of the ground, and this was pre-CGI, right? So everything was practical. And it's great. I actually recommend that to anyone. It's an awesome movie. And these graboids, as you come to find out throughout the series, predate not only life on the planet, but predate time itself. These come from I don't know, I guess ripping the space-time void and
naturally
tunneled their ways through the quantum foam into the Nevada desert where they've just been lying in wait.
Nice.
So Tremors 2, one of the main characters, Kevin Bacon, couldn't be bothered to make another one of these movies, so
he fell in love, so he couldn't come back.
Yeah, character-wise, he met the girl, and they left, and they became famous as graboid hunters and whatnot. Well, Michael Gross, as this gun enthusiast from the first movie, he's in the second movie, as well as Kevin Bacon's sidekick from the first movie. Doesn't matter. Graboids are now in Mexico. They get called down. It's because, again, mysterious deaths. What else could it be? Graboids.
Yeah, it's graboids.
Checks all the marks.
So they hunt some graboids. They do some, they kill some graboids. It's a great time. They get money for each one, I think. But something more mysterious starts happening. People are dying in different ways, and then they're finding dead graboids. Comes to find out that there's an evolutionary metamorphosis cycle that these graboids go through, where once they get mature enough, they spawn bipedal little hatchlings that are now above ground instead of below ground, and they hunt via infrared So they don't hunt by sound anymore. They see if they hunt by your body heat, kind of like the predator.
Yep.
So now there's a totally different scenario that they have to hunt through. And these things are called shriekers because they, I don't know, shriek or something. It doesn't matter. And
Doesn't matter.
so that's the second movie. There's this metamorphosis. Third movie, Back to Perfection. I think that's what it's actually called. They go back to the sleepy town that the first movie took place in, Perfection, Nevada. Bert's there. He's the gun guy. He's the only one that's returned so far for these movies. Well, the Graboids are back. And the Shrieker metamorphosis happens, but Bert's prepared for this now. He was not prepared in the second movie, and he made a big stink about that, not being prepared, not having enough intelligence. Well, turns out that there's another metamorphosis cycle. The Graboids, again, these are the two-legged creatures that run around above ground. They can metamorph yet again into flying versions of themselves. They sprout wings.
Pterodactyl
And
versions.
yes, pterodactyl versions.
Wow.
And they propel themselves through gaseous effluents ignited through some dragon stuff. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But they fly. They propel themselves through what they call
Giant
in the movie
farts.
ass blasting.
It's giant farts.
Wow.
Giant farts, and they're called ass blasters.
Wow.
Literally, that's what they're called in the movies.
So if you are following the narrative here, first movie, underground monsters. Second movie, on-ground monsters. Third movie, above-ground monsters.
Fourth,
Air monsters.
aerial.
Fourth movie. Where do you think third is aerial?
Oh, third is aerial,
right?
okay.
Because they're flying. Where do you think episode 4 is, or movie 4 is going, Brian? What's left to?
You gotta go to space.
Another
wrong.
dimension.
That would be the next evolution. Except Bert goes back in time to perfection.
Yeah, it's Tremors 4. The
'Cause they're-
legend begins.
Oh,
Bert goes back in time because there's Graboids. I'm making that up.
But it's
It
not
is
really
a prequel,
Bert.
though.
Right.
Bert's ancestor
Played
is
by
in
Bert.
Perfection, Nevada,
Right.
played by
Wow.
Michael Gross.
Wow.
And they find Graboids then and kill them, but never, I guess, it's 100 years prior to the first movie, and then I guess all record of the Graboid infestation is gone. Lost to
the sands
history.
of time. Yeah. Yeah.
Tremors 5, Bert has a son. Doesn't know about it.
Oh,
And then,
Sleeping
but there's Graboids in some other South America or something. I can't remember. So Bert has to go out of the country. His son tags along. The son rides a dirt bike, and at one point does a backflip on the dirt bike to decapitate a Graboid or something. And-
It's Jamie Kennedy is his son.
Jamie Kennedy is the son. Tremors 6, the topic of
yeah.
what was episode 1,
Yeah, yeah.
which will become this episode.
What a journey.
Cold Day in Hell.
What a journey.
Tremors 6 begins and takes place in the Arctic. And Bert can't handle it. He gets a call because this research team has died mysteriously up in the Arctic. What else could it be, Graboids?
Has to be.
Has to be Graboids.
I mean, especially if Bert's getting the call.
Well, Bert doesn't believe it. And this is a point that Spenny and I made a lot, is that it
can't
takes
believe
a
it.
lot to convince Bert that there are Graboids in the cold when he's only associated them with the desert.
That makes sense.
If you say Graboids enough, it convinces Bert.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
So basically, Bert goes up to the Arctic
Circle.
Research Station, Arctic Circle, where this geological team has been terrorized by the Graboids. Brings his son again, even though he's still not considering him his son, and still doesn't by the end of it either.
Nope.
There's no resolution there, actually.
Nope.
It's a sore subject. Don't talk
This is
about
the
it.
second movie that plot point has continued to percolate in the Graboid universe. And so they basically kill the Graboids by they electrocute one underground. They electrocute them through the soil. They blow one up with a gasoline in a 4-wheeler, and then the third one they trap in a shipping container because Bert gets infected at one point.
Yep.
In one of the movies, and the only solution is to get some graboid antibodies.
Antibodies.
And the only way to get that was from a live specimen in their little gland sac that hangs around in their mouth. So that was
Seems really risky.
yeah, that was an ordeal getting that gland juice.
Probably just give up.
And it's actually really, so the movie is really funny, and but it's literally the worst thing I've ever seen.
So when you say it's funny, is it funny because they intentionally put comedic relief in there, or were they going for like sci-fi horror? Like,
no, it's like over the top, kind of that classic.
Yeah, it's kind of campy.
yeah, okay.
B style movie. I mean, the underlying story on this whole thing is Bert and his taxes. Like, that is literally a plot line in this, because he hasn't paid He hasn't paid taxes in like 37 years. So the tax man comes at the beginning. And like, it's devastating to him because he's going to have to pay the government, and by the end of it,
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, by the end of it, he's saving the day, and there's happens to be this government agent there who's like, well, we've let go of all your taxes, and you don't owe any back taxes, and you'll never have to pay taxes again. And thanks for your help. And it's like, yeah,
wow, the resolution there.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
and because Bert throughout the entire series is very anti-government.
Yeah,
because he thinks that the government's going to take his land, which is a bit ironic because he has never paid taxes on his land, and so giving the government an excuse to take his land, and
oh
irony.
Oh, that is funny.
And so, yeah, the weird thing is that it's so poorly done, even for a B movie, and in the context of how good the original Tremors movie was.
Yeah.
It's just so bad, and
we kind of broke down the different budgets for different movies, and I think when you see episode 2, which is kind of like episode 1 now, the first real episode, we kind of break that down because we do John Carter, which is the first episode, and that's $250 million budget, and this had $4 million, which was cut from something else. The actors had to take pay cuts. The whole thing was shot in Australia. The opening scene is supposed to be on ice and snow, and it is literally just shot in the sand, and they just color graded it blue to make it look like sand or snow.
Snow.
And the whole time you're supposed to believe they're in the Arctic. You never see snow on any of the shots.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that is
the
amazing.
The beginning is so obviously sand. It's amazing.
And the car that happens to drive up is also right-hand drive, which makes no sense because they're supposed to be in the Arctic Circle, which is Canada. So
nice. That is wild. Just like I in those situations, I would just love to be in like the, like the decision making, the think tank room where, they got the news that, sorry, you can't film this in wherever, British Columbia or Antarctica or wherever you were going to think that you were going to shoot this. So desert, work with it.
Yep.
It's just
all right, guys.
Wild.
We've got one location. Let's make this work.
What's the cheapest place we can go?
Yeah. Probably blew their budget on the color grading artist.
Oh man, it was so amazing. Every graboid scene the graboids were done in CGI, and it looked like they used a calculator to make it.
Oh man, that is.
Now there was a Tremors 7.
Oh.
So Tremors 6 didn't end the whole thing. They made a Tremors 7, and they had to go again to South America or some jungle location. And Bert ends up dying. Spoiler alert, although I don't expect anyone listening to or not listening to watch it.
Yeah.
And that concludes the saga. The extended universe of Tremors is, I think, limited to a run of 7.
Dang.
Yep. I don't think they're gonna be coming back for more. Could be wrong, but
so we spent 90 minutes talking about that the first time we sat down.
Yeah. I'm sure
So
there's a lot to unpack with that one. Just in general, It sounds like there's probably some really nice, nifty little plot holes and.
I mean, there was just like the dialogue, the little nuances. There's a scene where the guy is, there's a guy throwing dynamite at the ground, and the song Mustang Sally is playing in the background, and the guy is just flinging dynamite around, and Mustang Sally.
But not to kill any graboids. It was just to
do a dance
annoy
scene.
them.
Wow.
To detract.
There's a scene where Bert is talking to his son. The son wants to go to Canada with him. And Bert is reluctant because he doesn't think he'll do anything useful, despite an entire previous movie where the son killed several graboids in front of Bert. Bert doesn't think he'll be any use up in the Arctic hunting graboids.
Oh my gosh.
And so the one, so Travis, I think was the name or something. He's like, please take me. I'll do everything you say, whatever. I've hunted these before. I can do it. The one stipulation the one criteria that Travis had to meet was to properly fill out an RCMP 5590 form, which is let me see here. Let me find it in my notes because I wrote this down. I'm sorry.
It's basically the thing that you're able to.
Okay. It's a non-resident special exemption RCMP 5590 form, which is to let him bring his gun into Canada. That's all it's for. And this was seconds of runtime, right?
Yeah.
The runtime was 90 minutes or less. I can't remember. And they ostensibly had to cut a lot, right?
Yeah.
Probably over half of, or twice as much as what they shot got cut.
For sure.
And they left this in. And it's Bert yelling at Travis about his non-resident special exemption RCMP 5590 form.
What?
And so that's what we're dealing with. And then he says in the last words before they cut to the Arctic, grab your Arctic gear. And not only does Travis not have any, he then doesn't have any in the rest of the movie. He's wearing his exact same clothes.
A leather black leather jean jacket. A black leather jacket.
The entire movie. And
Whole time. Nothing.
Grab
never.
your Arctic gear. And then it was
Deliberately disobeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bert is literally wearing Arctic camo the second he walks out of the general store in Nevada. And he's wearing it the whole time, and there's no snow on the ground the entire movie.
That is so disorienting to even think about.
None of the people that were in the Arctic either had any type of Arctic gear whatsoever. They were wearing sweatshirts and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
They, as a narrative, as a plot point, they gave Bert Arctic gear, and he was the only one there. And the only one that, I don't know.
That's amazing.
The decisions they made
my gosh. Yes.
Things like that are pretty funny.
It was funny.
But unintentionally.
Yep.
So you said this is on the Ascension to 10 scale. This is Ascension, which is
a 0.
Is a 0. And so like Ascension to 10, if you are a 10, it is the best of the best. The cream of the crop.
Yeah, it's really a scale. It's an 11-point scale, really, because it includes 0.
It does include 0. That makes sense.
Includes an extension.
Yep.
And so we've actually made a spreadsheet of everything that we've watched so far and ranked. And Spenny gave it a
0.9.
nice 0.9. And I gave
It's
it.
not
it was
quite a 1.
It was
No,
it was the
no.
first movie we saw, so it's like, I could see something worse. I don't know. That's the hard part.
No, you will not see anything worse.
Well, beg to differ.
I don't know, man. There's a lot
see.
of bad ones out there. But this one does sound pretty terrible.
It was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd make the first episode about the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, but you're not going to listen to it, so too bad.
Not yet, anyway. Once that NFT drop happens.
Yep. So what does that leave us?
That leaves us
Like
with...
we said, we have
go ahead.
we have 2 episodes in the books already that are going to come out. They're going to be a little different because we were still a little bit new at that point. Bryan won't be with us for those 2 episodes because he didn't record with us. So the next time you hear Bryan will be a few weeks from now.
Yeesh.
But
Yeesh.
do we have what's the movie that? Oh, well, the next episode that you'll hear is John Carter.
Yep.
And
Yeah, do you have like a tentative, like the next 5?
No,
That will-
it's
that we-
each week it's a surprise. We go back and forth.
Nice.
So we
Okay.
have no idea what's going to be.
yeah, each one of us has picked a movie, and then so at some point, if you want to be the one that pick a movie,
Okay.
Yeah,
you
go
can do
ahead.
that as
Okay.
well.
If you want to join,
And-
jump in.
Yeah.
So, well, is there anything else, folks?
I don't
I-
think so. I think
I'm-
we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I also am, like, just based on you telling me about Tremors 6, I know I said I'll probably never watch it, but now I am, like, very intrigued.
You might enjoy it, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
It's-
just like the
it's-
campy, just
Yeah.
terrible plot is. I'm all for
I mean,
it.
there's just so much funny stuff in it. I mean, I think that was kind of the
Yeah.
part where when we started doing this podcast and you start taking notes about movies, trying to kind of remember things and kind of things that stick out to you.
Yeah.
There was just so many notes in this one. Just-
Yeah, it was this huge document.
just-
Which is why you had a full 90 minutes to
Yeah.
to really break it down. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's right.
The funny thing is, it's been consistently when we've sat down to record, Spenny and I, we don't share the notes ahead of time.
Yeah.
And we consistently have had the exact same
Very
points of view and
Yep.
things to talk about.
I think
so.
that's, yeah. I can't see that being the case for everything, but that's pretty impressive
Probably not. Yeah.
Yep.
for this.
Yep.
There was one other segment that we wanted to do, maybe not today, but Spenny and I were discussing about adding a typical day segment.
Ooh.
What do you think about that, Bryan?
I love that. Yeah, it does, and maybe not putting pressure because typical days, they don't happen every day, but when they
Right.
do,
They
you
don't
know
have-
what they are. They're the TDs. They're just when you basically just get absolutely shit on. Like
It's
Yeah.
the day. Yeah,
I
it's
mean-
the day where you are trying to get something done, or there's something that you're working on, and it just nothing goes right.
Yeah.
and it's just a complete disaster.
Or random people just for no apparent reason deciding that they're going to ruin your day.
yeah, or
Yep.
yeah, and along the lines of I think where typical day originated was you trying to order a shake,
at Red
a
Fox.
milkshake from Fuddruckers. And
Yeah. So okay. So I can.
I think you should, if you're going to
You should
introduce
tee it
a
up
segment,
to
you
explain,
should tee it
yeah,
up.
We're gonna
what it
tee
is.
it up.
Yeah.
This is kind of one of my origin stories, and I have a vault of these typical day scenarios
So many.
that we might get to.
Yeah.
But the term typical day comes from high school, and I think it was senior year. So many of our friends were in this physics class, and it was not very informative for many reasons. But one of the things that stood out in our minds, our memories from that class, was the teacher, who didn't really know physics, tried to ease the class into this potentially intimidating course by saying things like, on the first couple of days, okay, everyone, this is just a typical day. You got your homework, you got your problems, you got your notes, go. So he would basically just say, I don't know what to do these problems, right? I don't know.
Typical day.
And so, but he kept saying that every day. Okay, another typical day. You got your homework. You got your notes. Go.
Yeah.
And so the typical day thing just became a funny thing to say. But there was this one fateful day that a lot of us went to this restaurant in where we grew up called Fuddruckers.
In Sioux Falls.
It's a burger joint in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And it was this restaurant chain. I'm not really sure how far it extended outside of Sioux Falls, but they specialized in burgers. And they're, at the time, they said world's best burger or something along those lines. Whatever. Doesn't matter. What does matter, what you need to know for this story is that I do not like malts. I don't like malt powder or the taste of malt powder in what would otherwise be called a shake, right?
Sure.
I think we can all agree on that.
Correct.
And so one time, several of us went to Fuddruckers. I'm the last to order. I go up to the counter and I said something like, can I please have a burger and fry and a chocolate malt? I'm sorry. Wait, I see that you have both malts and shakes on the menu. Can I please have a chocolate shake?
Sounds like your fault.
I said malt. I very quickly was apologetic and said, I'm sorry. Can I please have a shake? And the kid behind the cash register said, doesn't matter. And so at the time, I was just thinking that they're just the same there. They list them both on the menu, but they're just the same. They don't delineate between the two in the kitchen.
You thought this was a learning experience, like your whole life up until this point.
Right. And so we sit down and are waiting for the food, and the food arrives. And I should also have said that everyone else ordered a malt, right?
Right.
No, everyone else ordered shakes. I remember that. And so I get a malt. And maybe it's just an error. Maybe the kid put in malt and just didn't change it, right? Or didn't put a note in. So I got a malt. But at the time I was thinking that when he said doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what you want. Right? Can I please have a shake? Doesn't matter. You're getting a malt. So, I mean, that's, apparently a one-off. A few weeks later, kind of the same group went back to Fuddruckers, and I didn't order last this time. But what I said, I remember this specifically. I said, "Hi, could I please have a quarter-pound burger, fry, and a small chocolate shake? And is there any way that I could make that a combo meal?" No, not possible. Not possible at all. Okay. Just thought I'd ask. So I pay, and our friend Ian comes up behind me. He's the last to order. He was standing there the whole time. And he said, "Yeah, could I have the 2/3 pound burger, fries, and a chocolate shake?" And the kid, I'm still standing there. The kid says, "Oh, would you like to make that a combo meal?" And he says, "Well, yeah." And so, okay, I'll let that slide by. Maybe it wasn't possible that day to combine a 1/4 pound burger, fry, and shake, but a 2/3 pound burger does qualify. Mm-hmm. We sit down. I get another malt. Everyone else gets shakes, and I get another malt.
And we say to that, typical day.
Typical day.
That's a typical
day. A TD.
Typical day.
So maybe we'll make that a recurring segment.
If we have one. Yep.
I have a lot of these stories.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll remember to put it at the front of the show or the back. I don't know. Maybe it'll keep people around.
There you go. Be hanging on for that TD.
There you go.
Yep. Well, with that, anything else, boys?
I got nothing. Thanks for letting me hop in on this one.
Oh, thanks so.
Thanks for finally showing up.
Yeah, thanks for finally showing up and carrying this team.
Hey, I'm just behind the scenes.
Next few episodes, people are going to be like, "Where's Bryan? I'm not tuning in." He's back.
You don't want to put that kind of pressure on me. I'll just let you all down.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Okay, folks. Well,
All right.
I think that's it. Thanks for tuning in. If you made it this far,
We're doing it.
stay tuned next episode for a review of John
John Carter.
Jean Carter.